Soon after we signed off the air last night, Kyrie Irving shocked the basketball world with his timing, telling our good friend Schein he's opting into his $36.5 million salary for this season to stay in Brooklyn. What a win for the Nets. Of course, without question, Kyrie is a beaut. And he gave Schein some wild quote, as you see on the screen, about normal people and daring to be different and leading into tomorrow. Well, I guess when it comes to being different, actually caring about playing basketball would most certainly count as a major change for Kyrie Irving. And assuming that Kyrie is just a little bit humbled and a little bit humiliated that the Nets didn't want to give him a long-term deal, and not one other NBA team on the planet wanted to sign him to a multi-year contract, look, the Nets are going to get the best Kyrie has to offer, and the Nets, in a related story, are a legit title contender. You have to assume that Kyrie is not going to light this season on fire and is going to play ball and try to get paid after he lit half his salary in his Nike contract on fire and threw money in the toilet by not caring and not playing, and it was a disgrace last year. Sean Marks, the Nets' outstanding GM, brilliantly held firm, didn't blink, and now he gets a motivated Kyrie and a fired-up KD. And Brooklyn's back, just like that, Nets are back. Can you get 70 games from Kyrie, 65? I think that's fair. Durant knows he needs to win a title after last season's Nets debacle, and Steph Curry winning a championship first after the divorce. And it's not like there's any kind of educated guess here. I mean, it's not like it's a random haphazard free agent signing. They've played together before. We know that Kyrie and KD can dominate together. I mean, Kyrie just has to be on the court. The big key is this guy, Ben Simmons. He's in street clothes because we haven't seen him in a Nets uniform. And listen, Shams Charania has said today that Ben Simmons, imagine this concept, getting ready to rock and roll for the season. If the Nets just get the Philly version of Simmons, great defense, great passer, no ability to shoot whatsoever, that's a huge win. Simmons, KD, Kyrie, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, maybe Patty Mills, Nick Claxton. I mean, they're all together. The Nets are officially back, and that means everyone in the Eastern Conference should be on notice. Sean Marks held his ground brilliantly. He also knew that the market value for Kyrie Irving was in the toilets because he's never around and never available. Marks is banking on Kyrie being motivated again to beat Kyrie Irving. That's great for the Brooklyn Nets. That was new Lakers head coach Darvin Ham when he was introduced, and you got the sense he truly expected and wanted Russell Westbrook back. Well, today, no surprise, Russ opted in for this year because, of course, he did. Since the Lakers are now going to pay him $47.1 million this season. Westbrook obviously struggled mightily his first year in LA, but I just think it's so wrong to singularly blame him for the most underachieving season in NBA history. And look, there are some sagging numbers here, awful, gruesome numbers on the stat page, but look at the top. The games played, 78. Russ was always available and a legit Energizer bunny, and he cared, unlike Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And I think Ham is going to help here. It went noted that Russ showed up at Ham's press conference, and that's both support and respect. Ham in that press conference, when asked about Russ, talked about defense equaling wins and playing time. Message sent, and I bet received. Russ is an all-timer, not a great outside shooter, but I still think Westbrook, AD, and LeBron can function together on the court. Look, they only played in 21 games together last year. I'm not declaring championship. The West is obviously tough, but I think if they add an outside shooter and a defender down low, Lakers could be a playoff team. You have to imagine LeBron and AD and Russ all highly motivated and humiliated. This is going to be their last chance. I think Ham brings it all together. Don't be surprised when the Lakers actually look like a real basketball team this year. Speaking at an Oklahoma football camp today, Baker Mayfield dropped the truth. And I think there are some people who didn't know that and needed to hear it. Baker Mayfield will never play for the Cleveland Browns again. The team has moved on. Baker has moved on. Well, not literally, since he's obviously still under contract with the Browns, but It's over. It's been over. The Deshaun Watson trade and that contract sealed the deal. Even if Watson is suspended indefinitely or for a year and there's an appeal, it doesn't matter. I told you it was over for Mayfield in Cleveland after the Pittsburgh game, way before Deshaun Watson was on the roster. Look, the coach, Kevin Stefanski, didn't draft Baker Mayfield. Andrew Berry wasn't in the GM chair when Mayfield was drafted. Baker is a handful, hasn't played well the last couple of years, hasn't proven he's healthy. And here's the deal, right? You cannot have Mayfield as a stopgap, as a solid citizen, being politically correct, holding down the fort for Watson. That's not what Baker's going to be all about. Is Mayfield better than Jacoby Brissett? Sure. But Brissett can win 10 games with the talent in Cleveland. Then maybe they bring in someone like Sam Darnold or Jimmy G to the quarterback room. Mayfield should be the starting quarterback for Seattle. It's perfect. The Panthers clearly hate Darnold, and there's been Baker buzz with the Panthers, and that's logical too. But there's no logic when it comes to Cleveland. Everyone knows that. Everyone has known that. Hopefully now that includes you. Some news you could use on a Tuesday. The Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin have agreed upon a 3-year contract extension worth a reported $71 million. Terry McLaurin is worth every single penny. We talked about this deal being a necessity to get done ever since the season ended. Terry McLaurin is a legit #1 receiver. Great hands, great work ethic, great speed. He's a tremendous player. Doesn't always get the acclaim and the praise why he belongs on this list, because he's been playing in Washington, where everything they do in Washington is the worst, and playing for bad coaches and a horrible organization and a terrible owner. And obviously, Washington has been irrelevant. But don't get it twisted. McLaurin is great. Finally, some great news you could use if you are a fan of Washington football. How about some news you could use from the NBA, where the Utah Jazz are finalizing a contract to make 34-year-old former Celtics assistant Will Hardy their next head coach. One of the Hardy boys. How about it? Wow, Will Hardy. Now, obviously, Celtics, you think Danny Ainge, who knows the organization incredibly well. And look, Will Hardy, yeah, this is Will Hardy's resume. I'm getting to know Will Hardy just like you're getting to know Will Hardy. But apparently he interviewed incredibly well, and I'm not going to waste your time talking about Will Hardy. I want to talk about Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, because really all that matters is what these guys think of the hire, because there's a realistic chance there is a fire sale in Utah. And Rudy Gobert is one of the best centers, one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell is a true superstar. Donovan Mitchell is from New York. I want Donovan Mitchell on the Knicks more than anything in the world. So I can read the resume for Will Hardy. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter what you think. What does Donovan Mitchell, what does Rudy Gobert think about the direction for the Utah Jazz? Here's hoping they're miserable. More news you could use from the NBA, where John Wall is reportedly going to join the Clippers after reaching a buyout with the Rockets. I love this move for the Clippers. Love it. There's a reason why we said the only team that made sense for Kyrie, other than Brooklyn, was the Clippers, because of upside of getting a point guard. Now, John Wall didn't play last year because basically Houston was rebuilding and they didn't want John Wall to get hurt. And listen, you see it right there, disagreement with rolling the team. Basically, they just wanted to pay him to go away so they could buy him out, which they did. And when he played in 2021, he played well. And this is a legit starting lineup. And if John Wall can give you 50, can he give you 50 games? 50 games with Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, being the other option at the point guard position. The LA Clippers, with Kawhi coming back and Paul George coming back and John Wall, who was so fabulous in Washington. I don't think you'd ever see that version again, but if you can get a really good version of John Wall, this is a risk-reward boomer bust that is very much in favor of the Clippers and Ty Lue's great coach. It's not out of the realm of possibility the Clippers can get a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. I love this move for the LA Clippers. Some news you could use for Major League Baseball. This just in. Freddie Freeman has fired the agency that represented him this offseason. Freeman reportedly upset with how the offseason negotiations went with the Atlanta Braves, and as a result, he's a member of the Dodgers. Yikes. And there's a lot here. And I think the chronological order here is very important because it's clear Freddie Freeman never wanted to leave. And it's pretty clear that Freddie Freeman needed to tell his agent, get me not the most money on the open market, the most money possible from the Atlanta Braves. The Braves decided to trade for Matt Olson when there was an impasse with the Freddie Freeman negotiations. Freeman got paid, great situation, can win in LA. He's putting up great numbers, by the way. If I'm Dave Roberts, I'm going to have to probably ask Freddie Freeman, is he happy? Does he want to be in Los Angeles long term? They're trying to win a World Series in LA? Really weird news you could use. We talked about this in real time. Freddie Freeman, all he wanted to do was stay in Atlanta. All the emotions going home over the weekend. Obviously, that sparked all of this. He messed up. His agents messed up. But if I'm Freddie, enjoy life being a Dodger in Los Angeles. And finally, more news you could use for Major League Baseball, where the league smartly came down hard with some serious suspensions as a result of the Angels-Mariners brawl from the weekend. I mean, everyone involved with the Angels suspended. I mean, you had players suspended, manager, coaches, the interpreter, the rally monkey was suspended, Troy Gloss was suspended, Gene Autry's hat was suspended. Throw the book at the Angels because it was all about headhunting, and a great job by Major League Baseball letting every other team know that is unacceptable. I would have suspended the rally monkey years ago.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.